These goblins are so weak. I love them.
They're perfect.
Exactly. Just instantaneously die. But knowledge, swords, and armor. We'll teach a baby Kavu to read King Omek's mind, then gift it to him. But how do we get the baby Kavu back? And how will we teach them to talk? To which my response regrettably is, what? No, we'll talk to King Omek.
I feel like you've never been so disappointed to be on rails in this game before.
I would have really liked my planeswalker, who can alter the very fabric of time and space, to say, yes, that sounds like a great plan.
Right? Right. Apparently your character just absolutely agrees with everything everybody says, except for Squee. Great.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Can't we
This
try just a little bit?
This can't be the one person in all dimensions that I'm smarter than. That doesn't track.
Yeah.
My character has proved dumber than a goblin up until this point, so like what gives?
For serious. For serious. What would be really interesting is if they'd actually made something like 5 different storylines for each zone, and it depends in what order you do them in, is how nuanced your character's response to everything is. Like, by the end, you're like, no, you're obviously a traitor, die now. And at the beginning, no matter what, you're like, whatever you say, person, I don't know. That would be awesome.
Right. Honestly, I understand that like it costs more to do games like that, but like I'm so disappointed more of them don't have multiple plot lines.
Exactly.
What I find so weird too is that like normally the thing that they quote as the reason they don't do it is because the voice lines would cost so much, and I'm like, are the voice lines really the most costly part of making a game? Like, how much are they paying these voice actors that are just like, I need you to say 3 more sentences, but it's gonna destroy the budget?
There was a famous voice actor who would arrive in a limo, and like he was famous for one day he like left, and they called him and were like, we're so sorry, but we need you in for like 10 more minutes, like 3 lines. And he was like, you know how much that costs? And they were like, yes. And he was like, all right. And he told his limo driver to turn the fuck around. So,
and I guess this is the part that confuses me is like, do they need famous voice actors? Like, are the amateur ones that bad?
oh, Corey, you know that answer is yes. Sorry, sarcastic. I apologize.
All right.
Have you heard bad voice actors?
Yeah, but like nowhere near as commonly as like you would think, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I only really hear bad voice actors in like really bad games that clearly spent money on nothing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the other problem is, of course, like, the question is, well, do we need voice acting?
Like, the thing is, they usually don't put big plot lines even in games that don't have voice acting. So then it's just like, well, then what is the excuse?
Yeah.
Well, some players might not see every plot line. They don't need to.
In fact, the very fact that they don't see all of them is what makes the players more interested in those plot lines.
Like, it might actually be fun to replay these stories if you could do so differently.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I don't actually play grindy action RPGs.
I feel the other problem is many times the games that do try it, like the first time they try it, it does not do well because they're like trying it years before it's like viable. And so everyone's like, well, that's why we don't do it. And then it's like, you know, not till 40 years later that somebody else is like, I'm going to do this. And I'm famous enough that I can get away with it. And then it works. And then everyone's like, well, now we have to. That's industry standard. And it's like, dude.
You don't want to end up like the Clue movie.
Oh, the Clue movie was so good.
Mm.
Did it botch?
When it originally came out, yeah.
No way.
It's a cult classic. Like, people love it now, but in theaters, nobody went to see it. And one of the big reasons people didn't like it was because of the 3 different endings. Like, now, most of the times when you watch it on DVD or something, it just shows you all 3 endings back to back. But in the original, it randomly picked one. And so until you talk to other people about the movie, and they're like, that's not how it ended. Like, nobody knew what the fuck that was about.
Yeah, that's true. Like, nowadays you can talk about that and realize that that's a thing, but like...
But back then, you would just be like, my friend is straight up lying to me again. First, he told me I can get the Triforce in fucking Ocarina of Time, and now this? Friendship over.
Exactly.
I feel like that's the thing Gen Z is most not going to get about our generation is back when we were kids, people could just lie to us, and we had no way of figuring it out.
Yep. There was no fact checking. Unless you wanted to table the discussion for a month. I accidentally did my power, but hopefully the Goblin King has arrived so I can attack him.
That don't look like a gobbo.
Don't worry. He's almost dead. We don't have to listen to him.
Why is king in quotation marks, but not goblin? That's the questionable part of the title.
Do you really feel that the goblins question it?
Apparently they question king, but not goblin.
That's par for course.
Like, he's neither sized nor shaped like a goblin, and they're just like, sounds legit.